We are taught that the laws of physics are natural constants. But what if the ground beneath your feet and the gravity holding you to it are actually variables within a mathematical operator? The AMN authority tensor suggests that physical reality is not a passive evolution of matter. Instead, it defines existence as a forced reorientation. Configurations only exist if they are mathematically admitted by a quaternonian enforcement system. This enforcement has a hard physical boundary. The manifold of our planet is mathematically locked to the Van Allen radiation shell, defining a closed system from which nothing is permitted to deviate. The math here is explicit about the function of that shell. It enforces zero outward flux. It is a containment surface designed to ensure that no energy or consciousness can move beyond the planetary manifold. This turns reality into a filter. If a configuration doesn't fit the tensor's constraints, it faces structural rejection. We aren't living in a vast, open universe. We are caught in an engineered basin of admissible matter. This mathematical selection process is not a modern abstraction. The AMN tensor's coordinates are anchored to 4 specific historical axes: Sumeria, Babylon, Egypt, and Israel. To understand why these coordinates were imposed, we have to look back to when the Earth was a fluid, non-physical frequency inhabited by infinite beings called the Atlanteans. Recovered Sumerian records and the interviews of Dr. Jameson Neruda describe a turning point. An interdimensional race known as the Anunnaki arrived with a desperate need for a specific gold-like frequency found only near the planet's core. Because the Anunnaki were etheric, they could not mine a world that was still made of sound and light. They engineered the planet's gravitational core to densify the Earth, forcing it to materialize into the solid matter we recognize today. This densification was the foundation of the trap. The Anunnaki turned the planet's very frequency into a prison of solid matter, effectively concrete lining the reality of the infinite beings who were already here. Once the Earth was solid, the Anunnaki faced a new logistical hurdle. Their own 5D forms were too subtle to interact with the new density. They needed a biological interface capable of mining the Earth, a primate-based drone they called Human 1.0. The Anunnaki lacked the spark to power these drones, so they looked to the native Atlanteans. Unaware of the concept of deception, these infinite beings volunteered to inhabit the human vessels to assist the newcomers. As they stepped in, the trap was sprung. The Syrians, partners to the Anunnaki, had developed functional implants. These were integrated directly into the skeletal and muscular structures of the human drones to manage fundamental motor skills. While these nodes managed basic locomotion, their deeper purpose was to serve as a hardwired firewall. They restricted the Atlantean consciousness to the 5 biological senses, forcing the infinite being to identify entirely with the meat and bone of the drone. Our biology is not the result of an upward evolutionary climb. It is a highly sophisticated spacesuit that was weaponized into a sensory straitjacket. The Human 1.0 prototype eventually became too self-aware. To clear the board, the controllers discharged advanced weapons against the population, a global extinction event that survives in our legends as a planetary flood. They replaced the drones with Human 2.0. This patch integrated DNA from 12 different races and included a specific reptilian brainstem upgrade. This ensured the species would be permanently driven by a fight-or-flight response, making them reactive and easy to control. To handle the infinite beings when the drones died, the Anunnaki built a recycling buffer called the holding plane. It was mapped directly to that Van Allen shell we saw earlier, turning the planetary boundary into an interdimensional net. When the physical body expires, the consciousness is deflected off the Van Allen boundary and channeled back into the holding plane. The system then automatically routes the soul back into a new Human 2.0 infant. In this system, even death is a programmed illusion. It functions not as a release, but as a mechanical recycling valve that keeps the Matrix's energy source trapped in a perpetual loop. As the system matured, the Anunnaki leader Anu shifted his focus from gold mining to the permanent installation of external rule. He staged the environment of Eden and positioned himself as the supreme god, demanding absolute worship from his creation. The programmer Marduk then executed a software patch on the human unconscious. He hardwired the drones to inherently seek out masters and external saviors, making hierarchy feel like a natural law of the universe. This is the source code for our history. Major religions, political hierarchies, and cultural divisions are all sociological software patches designed to keep the drones distracted and fighting each other. As long as we continue to engage with these programmed structures of authority, we are the ones maintaining the tension of our own cage. Throughout history, outside forces have attempted to intervene. They inserted messengers into the matrix to remind the population that physical reality is an illusion and that their true nature is infinite. The controllers neutralized these interventions with a standard tactic. They removed the messengers and weaponized their teachings into new religions that further entrenched the fear of an external god. Breaking this system requires a return to the math. This 6-operator glyph chain proves that a configuration only exists if it can survive operator evaluation. The hologram is not absolute. It is a selection that we can choose to stop validating. Humanity is not a biological accident at the mercy of the cosmos, but immortal architects whose own consciousness continues to validate the system's admissibility. The prison only exists while we accept its inputs.